Okay, one question. Mr. A converts his capital asset acquired for an amount of 50,000 in June 2003. The asset was acquired in June 2003 into stock in trade in the month of November 2016. Okay, so year of conversion is November 2016. That means 16-17. Please mark my words, my dear friend. The CII benefit, the indexation benefit for CII of transfer year, the CII of transfer year is 16-17 and not 2021. Please understand, this is very important aspect of CCDS based question. Okay, the fair market value of the asset as on the date of conversion is 4,50,000. This is full value of consideration. The stock in trade was ultimately sold for 6,50,000 in the month of September. What is the tax treatment? When they are asking you tax treatment, you have to give two tax treatment: capital gain chapter and PGBP both. PGBP you can directly see here. The fair market value was 4,50,000 and actual sale price is 6,50,000. So the difference is only 2 lakh. That is my PGBP. Okay, look at the answer. The capital gain on sale of capital asset converted into stock in trade is taxable in the given case. It arises in the year of conversion. So capital gain has accrued in the year of conversion, that is 16-17. Okay, but will be taxable only in the year in which stock in trade is finally sold. That time your liability will arise. Okay, you have to pay the tax now. Profit from the business will also be taxable in the year of sale of the stock. So how do we compute long-term capital gain? You just have to provide the indexation. PGBP is very much simple. 6,50,000 minus 4,20,000 is equal to 2 lakh. Okay. And full value of consideration 4,50,000. What you have to observe is this number. This is not 301. Okay. It's not indexation of the current year. It's an indexation of the year in which stock got converted. So whenever CCDS happens, so please understand your capital gain is 3,28,899. Some of the students have given me this answer, which is the right answer. Okay. For the purpose of indexation, cost inflation index of year in which asset is converted into stock in trade should be considered and not in the year of sale. So it was very much important aspect. Let's go and let us continue our balance discussion. 45(2)(a), sale of shares in demat account. Whenever shares are sold from demat account, please tell me if shares are in physical form, you can actually trace the shares, which share was sold at what date, okay, on what date and exactly what was the price. But when shares are converted into demat form, dematerialized form, that means electronic form, you actually don't know which share exactly you are going to sell. Okay, and therefore we are going to follow a FIFO method. We are going to follow a FIFO method because in electronic form, if you have purchased a shares of one particular company on different dates. So for example, IRL is concerned. Okay, you are purchasing shares of Reliance, TCS, Wipro on different date. Sometime 100 shares, sometime 200, sometime 50, sometime 80, sometime 200. So on different date, you have accumulated shares and now you are selling 500 shares out of it. So we are going to follow a FIFO method. FIFO method means first in the demat account will be first exited from demat account. Okay, this is the assumption. The whichever share was entered into demat account first, from we will assume that the same shares was exited, and based on that we will compute the capital gain. This is for very simple, no need to put more emphasis on this. Section 45 subsection 3. Okay, now sometime when you start a business, right now in lockdown period, during the COVID period, many individuals, many youngsters, they have started their businesses. And for starting businesses, one of the most important challenges, people are not having sufficient capital. So whenever you don't have a capital and you wanted to start a business, what you can do as an individual, and other 2 friends or other 5 friends have already started a startup, or they have already started a partnership firm, and you also want to become a partner, but you don't have enough capital in your hand, but you are having a house property with you, or you are having a gold with you. What you can offer to your partners, please understand, transfer of a capital asset by a partner, transfer of a capital asset by a partner or a member of the firm, member of firm or AOP or BOI as a capital contribution. You are transferring the asset to the firm as a capital contribution, now this is definitely taxable. There is no exception to this. This is definitely taxable. Amount recorded in the BOA should be taken as a full value of consideration. Usually what we take, we take fair market value of the asset, because here you are not selling the asset. There won't be actually sale consideration. We have to take some deemed consideration, and here usually whenever I say deemed consideration, fair market value comes in our mind. But this is the situation. Section 45(3) is a special situation where a fair market value should be ignored and the book value should be considered. It is going to be taxed in the year of transfer. Let us take one quick small example. Transfer of capital asset by a partner to a firm as a capital contribution. Mr. Ram transferred his house property to Ram Patil and Associates, a firm, as an admission to the partner as a capital contribution. He had acquired this property in 2019 for 8 lakh rupees. The fair market value of the said property as on the date of admission was 60 lakh. So they have given you fair market value. Okay. The firm recorded the house in the books of accounts as on the same date for 50 lakh. Now, what I have told you, whenever we take full value of consideration, ignore fair market value and take book value. In section 45 subsection 3, why I'm saying so? Because fair market value does not have any basis. It's baseless. Whereas book value, a value recorded by the partnership firm, must have some kind of evidences, some kind of calculation, some kind of logic behind it. So the more reliable value is book value than the fair market value. Therefore, we are focusing on book value here. Okay. So book value is going to be the full value of consideration less transfer expenses is equal to net consideration. And then index cost of acquisition, you know that 8 lakh multiplied by 301 divided by 148, indexation of year of transfer. So this will be my gross long-term capital gain, which is taxable in the year of transfer of capital asset by a partner to the partnership firm. What is more important, I told you here to remember, we ignore the fair market value and we consider the book value. When the reverse happens, so what do you mean by reverse? Reverse means whenever capital asset is transferred by a firm to a partner. Here transferor is the firm. Whenever a transfer has happened by a firm to a partner on account of death of the partner, on account of retirement of the partner, on account of dissolution of the firm, whenever a firm transfer asset to a partner, it will be taxable under the head, under section 45 subsection 4. Definitely firm is not getting anything out of it. So the full value of consideration is equal to fair market value. Here, because books of accounts of a partner may be maintained or may not be maintained. We never know. Partner may maintain the books of account, may not maintain the books of account, because partner is an individual. So helplessly, we have to take fair market value. Even if they provide book value in the exam, you have to ignore the book value and consider the fair market value. So how you should remember, whenever a partner transfers the asset to the firm, we take book value because that is more reliable. Okay. This value is more reliable value. Whenever firm transfers the asset to the partner, here we have to take fair market value. This happens in section 45. This happens in section 45 subsection 3. This happens in section 45 subsection 4. Okay. So this is what you need to remember about these two transactions. Yeah. Till now, if you have any doubt, please ask. So the next section is section 45 subsection 5. Compulsory acquisition of capital asset by government or RBI or any state government. Please understand, whenever government compulsory acquires your asset, it has to be for the nation's interest, state's interest, the public interest. Either they will construct road on that, dam, tunnel, something, some government infrastructure project will come. So according to the Land Acquisition Act, government will give you some compensation. Your land will not be taken for the free of charge. There will be some compensation which is known as initial compensation. Sir, initial compensation is taxable. Yes, definitely it is taxable. But because government, you cannot trust the government. They are saying they will give you the compensation in this year, but they may give, they may not give. And therefore, we say the initial compensation should be taxable only when you receive it, not when it is transferred. Okay. Sir, sometimes people will fight with government and they will demand the enhanced compensation. So whether enhanced compensation is taxable? Yes, even enhanced compensation is also taxable in the year when it is received. Okay. So initial compensation is also taxable, enhanced compensation is also taxable. So long-term and short-term depends upon period of holding of the asset. You should understand whenever you have computed capital gain on initial compensation, all the cost of acquisition and cost of improvement benefit has been already taken. So whenever enhanced compensation is received, it is fully taxable because there won't be any deduction in respect of enhanced compensation. So what if government delays it beyond ordinary time? Will they pay me any additional compensation? Yes, whenever they will give you enhanced compensation or initial compensation delayed. If your compensation is delayed, my dear friend, then they will give you interest on that. And interest is a revenue receipt. It's not a capital receipt. See, compensation is the capital receipt. Therefore, it should be taxable in the capital gain chapter. But interest is the revenue receipt. It is taxable under IFOS chapter with the 50% standard deduction. There, you will not get any actual expenditure. Like you will be filing case against government. You will be paying court fees, you will be paying lawyer fees, you will be paying documentation charges, no deduction of actual expenditure. 50% standard deduction we will provide, and the net amount will be taxable. Net amount of interest will be taxable in the year of receipt, not on accrual basis. So what you need to understand, whenever you are dealing with government, whether it is a basic compensation, initial compensation, enhanced compensation, or even interest, everything will be taxable in the year of receipt and not in the year of accrual. Okay. Let's see one basic question again. Ms. Sia has acquired a building in Trivandrum for 70 lakh on 8 April 2006. Government of India has compulsory acquired such property for railway project by awarding 180 lakh on 16th August 2016. So in 16-17, my property is taken over by the government. Okay. Ms. Sia has a filed case against government for claiming the higher compensation of 300 lakh. How much you demand, that is not important. Government has given 180 lakh as on 15th April as the initial compensation was committed by the government. Okay. As a result of dispute, government has enhanced the compensation by another 70 lakh rupees along with interest of 8 lakh on 25th Jan 2021. Now we have to compute the taxation. Here three computations will happen. Transfer is equal to compulsory acquisition. Year of transfer is year of compulsory acquisition. Year of tax will be the first installment of initial compensation. Full value of consideration for initial compensation 180 lakh. Index cost of acquisition, while computing index cost of acquisition, you can consider here, we have not taken 301. Okay, we have not taken 301. We have taken 264 when the property was actually transferred. Gross long-term capital gain is computed. Enhanced compensation is fully taxable as a long-term capital gain. If original capital gain was a long-term, enhanced compensation will also remain long-term. If original was short-term, enhanced will also remain the short-term. Interest is taxable. Interest is taxable in IFOS, but 8 lakh minus 50% standard deduction, only 4 lakh rupees will be taxable. In the year of receipt of this particular interest, it will become taxable.